China. After creating my US versus China video where I point out the number of atrocities that China and the CCP have conducted against the majority of humans across the planet, I think I'm probably on a list. So if I ever disappear, that is one of the many things to be suspicious of. And if my death ever came up saying that I game-ended myself, then definitely investigate that, because that is not true. Today we're going to be talking about whether or not China seems to have a bigger foothold in the US than we actually think. Now, foreign investors are not a new thing. In fact, Chinese investors in the United States is about as old as the US itself. It's a long, tried and true history where governments like to go out and buy land and companies in other places. It's a way to diversify your portfolio. In fact, it's a great way to diversify your portfolio if you're an individual, you're a company, or if you're even a government. However, with Xi Jinping and the CCP getting more and more newsline attention, our eyes are turned toward the sleeping dragon a lot more than they used to be. In fact, it's kind of more of a modern Red Scare, some good old McCarthyism, just like our grandpappies used to have. But even with this enhanced scrutiny, there's been a lot more Chinese investment both in US companies and real estate, as well as European properties as well. My fellow gamers, you know what I'm talking about, am I right? League of Legends fans, Fortnite fans, rise up. In fact, in 2018 alone, China decided to play a little sugar daddy for $25 billion just in the US. That's $25 billion dropped on US companies and real estate just so they can have a little larger piece of the pie. According to a Fox News article, and yes, I know I'm unironically advocating for a Fox News article, they're crazy, they're wild, but it helps to have some diversity in your news sources as well, folks. Anyways, in this article, it shows that the US and China have some very deep ties in a number of things, not just in entertainment, not just in real estate, not just in companies, but in food sources, medication, pretty much everything that you could imagine. It has a huge hand tied to China, and likewise, if you happen to be in China and you happen to be watching this past the Great Firewall, then thank you. But the US has some major ties to China as well, and unironically, I think that might be the source to world peace right there. Think about it. If you have a whole bunch of companies that are tied together and are completely dependent on each other, at least for economical sense, then there's a lot less reason to go to war. You don't want to bomb the place that's making your antibiotics. Conversely, you don't want to bomb the place that's making all the customers to where you can buy the iPhones that you make at a very cheap margin. Yes, I know there's more to war than just economical stuff and big businesses fighting each other. There's a lot of governmental tensions and there's a lot of things there. But you do have to admit that money does play a big role when it comes to wars. We definitely saw that with the last few. So I think that this unironically is a bit of a Cold War in a sense, but not in the sense that we're kind of holding each other in the form of a Mexican standoff, but instead we're kind of holding each other with the warm embrace of a sweet dollar bill or Chinese yuan, depending on which perspective you're looking in from. But that doesn't mean that China's not trying to make some big old money moves and try to take some stuff away from the US, maybe even pushing for a war in a sense. According to the Made in China 2025 initiative, China doesn't only want to be a part of the world market, it wants to be the dominant force in ways of pharmaceuticals, technology, and even nanotechnology, microtechnology, all those other Greek letters. It's some crazy technology stuff there. This should come as no surprise if you keep your eye on any sort of media whatsoever. China has went ahead and they bought a large number of companies and they buy a good major stock of many things. Now it could be Tencent, it could be Alibaba, but those are China owned and operated. As a communist power, they have a hand in those large companies as well, especially on the world stage. That's why a lot of people doubt Huawei, because Huawei is a Chinese independent company, sure, but it also has ties to the CCP and could be bugging our stuff. I don't know. I'm not that conspiracy guy. I'm not a technology guy. I'm just repeating what people see every day. I cannot confirm or deny that's such a thing. But yeah, China's been dipping their toes in a large number of US things. In fact, the government agency known as CIFIS actually reversed China from buying Grindr. That's right, folks. China, once upon a time, actually bought Grindr. Could you just imagine? It's so weird considering how, anti-LGBT China is, and here they are buying Grindr. I mean, that is some money moves if I've ever seen it. And of course, everybody knows China is a big purveyor of real estate as well, both in the US and in Europe. They buy malls, they buy flat pieces of land, they buy a large number of things. But here's where it gets personal, because now they got their eyes set on Texas. Oh boy, no, no, no. In fact, in the county of Valverde, aka the middle of freaking nowhere, I had to look this up myself. Texas is a big state. They bought 130,000 square acres of land. And normally that's not exactly a big thing, but they did claim it's for economic purposes. And that can be pretty sus, fam. Especially whenever you have Fort Hood not but a few hours away. That's how we measure things in Texas. We don't measure by miles, we measure by hours. It's a big state. The fact that they can just kind of, pull down the blinds a little bit and look over at probably one of the more major bases inside the US is a little concerning, to say the least. But that's pretty par for the course when it comes to how things are. Embassies are located in the same towns as military bases, and you've got a whole bunch of, cross-trade there. So it can't exactly be for some sort of scary Bay of Pigs situation, but, in this modern age, with the things happening, 2020 being the way it is, let's just not completely wipe out that possibility. Not to fearmonger or anything, but we've seen some crazy stuff this year. We've seen UFOs confirmed by the government. Who knows what else could be going on underneath there? So in short, yeah, China's got their fingers all over the US, and likewise, we've got our fingers in China. We all just be sticking each other's fingers up each other. Don't take that the wrong way, you naughty, naughty, naughty. But that doesn't mean that there's any sort of malicious thing going on. And like I said earlier, maybe this is some sort of weird Cold War, pure mutual handshake that we have with old Winnie the Pooh over there, where we just have the interest of money first and foremost, and we don't want to nuke each other over that because we both know that the valuable resources the other people have are just as good and not worth making the entire world mad at you for attaining. Who knows? But regardless, this has been a wild year. China is going to keep buying up more and more stuff as we see, but maybe that's not a bad thing. But if we get to the point where we can start investing in Chinese companies, we'll definitely make some good money as well. They've got some big developing stuff. In fact, China is also known as what is called one of the BRICS countries. Brazil, Russia, India, or Indonesia, can't remember, China. So there's definitely some big development going on there. So we'll see how things work out. We'll see how things continue to go. And we'll just ride out this crazy decade. It's already looking pretty nuts. Hopefully that's not an indicator for worse things to come. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like on this video and share with your friends in case they're getting a little bit of that good old McCarthyism like my grandpappy used to have. Just to show them that, hey, it's not that bad. Things happen like this happen all the time. In fact, it's a good way to diversify. As China continues to grow, they want to have more diverse ways to increase their money as well. That way, in case their economy crashes and burns, they're not just holding this entire basket of eggs that just completely slipped out underneath them. With that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye.